Hey everyone, my name is Brittany and today I'm just going to be taking you through open and closed kinetic chain exercises. So before I begin, a kinetic chain is how our body segments move and how they kind of correspond with each other to complete a complex movement. So everything that I got, all my information, I'd like to reference to Lorraine Glass, our instructor, and her presentations, and also to our textbook. Our Applied Movement and Mechanics textbook. So let's get started. So there's open and closed kinetic chain exercises. Open is when our distals or our body segments are able to move freely. So it's like waving your hand, saying hello, and the part that is moving doesn't have any force against it. So it's kind of just going with the flow. Secondly, a closed kinetic exercise is when the distals or the body segments that you're using are applying force. So you can think of a squat. Maybe you have a really heavy dumbbell or barbell above you, and your force is your feet, and it's closed because you're pushing down into the floor or into the ground, whatever surface you're using, and that's causing a little bit more force and friction against the ground. So again, I'm going to start this soon. I'm going to take you down to the gym and we're going to be doing 2 exercises for open and 2 for close. So the open kinetic, I'll show an upper body and a lower body, and then the closed, I'll show an upper body and lower body, and I'll also be using modifications. So I'll say progressive, which means that you can make it a little bit more advanced, and then I'll also say regressive, which means that you can just keep it kind of basic, still nice and challenging. So let's get started. Let's head into some upper body kinetic chain exercises. So we'll do open kinetic chain. So just grab a pair of dumbbells. And we'll start with a little bit of a regressive movement. So this is for the medial part of your shoulder. So drawing your elbows down to your side, palms are facing in. Shoulders relaxed. You're just going to lift your elbows up and then resist on the way down. So as you can see, this is an open kinetic chain exercise because our distals are moving freely. Now to make this a little bit heavier, you're just going to bring your palms to face forward. You do a full lat raise. You're going to pull all the way up and then draw the arms down. So inhale on the way up, exhale on the way down. So again, this would be a little bit more progressive because you're adding more weight by pressing all the way up and all the way down, whereas when we were just doing the chicken wing or that medial movement, kind of get a little stop on the halfway up. So that's my first upper body exercise for open kinetic chain. Now that you've nailed the open kinetic chain exercise for the upper extremity, let's go to the lower portion. So just come back onto all fours on knees and hands. I'll go on a diagonal so you can see me a little bit better. So feet and hands are hip width apart or shoulder width apart. And you're going to bring your right leg back behind you, pointing through your toe. So again, this right leg is freely movable within space. Now the left arm is going to stay on the floor for the regressive movement. So this one's a little bit more basic. So with that right leg, you're just going to tap it down and up, tap and up, tap, lift. So you can do this full range of movement, or you can do a little bit of lifts just to isolate and really get that seat and hamstring working. So let's make this a little bit more progressive so that you get a little bit harder of an exercise. So come back down onto that all four position. Reach that right leg back out behind you. And now to make this harder, you're going to reach that left arm forward. So you have spinal extension here. And you're also working a little bit more into balance, but you're still in open kinetic because your arms are moving freely. So as you lift the right leg up, the left arm lifts up in opposition. So there is your open kinetic chain exercises for the lower extremities. So now we're moving into the closed kinetic chain exercises. So that means that something upper or lower body, the distals will be contacting the ground or something that's stable. So for my case, I'm going to be doing push-ups and I'm also going to be doing curtsy lunges. So to start, for the upper extremity, we'll start in the push-up position. And for that little bit more basic move, I'm going to be on my knees. So you can see me in a diagonal here. Arms are nice and wide, and then on the knees, draw the belly button up so that you're in a nice core contraction. Keep your spine neutral, and then just move down, and then push up. So again, this is closed kinetic because I'm pushing down the force into the floor. So this is your regressive movement. Let's make this harder. So curl the toes under, lift your legs up. So already you're adding more weight. Now as you push down, you can lift one leg up and then switch. Other leg lifts up and you push down. Down and down. So obviously a little bit more harder. It makes me puffed thinking about it, but a really good exercise for closed kinetic chain. So now we're gonna go into the lower extremity. So pop on up, and I'm gonna take you into a curtsy lunge and just shift the camera down so that you can see my legs. So we're gonna start with our toes slightly turned out. You're just gonna bring this left leg back. So your left toe is in line with your right heel. Now hands onto your hips. Draw your hips square and then slightly hinge your torso forward. Bending through that left knee, you're in the curtsy lunge. So you wanna keep this back leg open, and then this right knee is tracked towards your middle toe. So to keep it regressive, hands into prayer or on your hips, you're just going down and pushing up. So close kinetic, because you're pushing into this front right foot. You're gonna feel your right seat and hamstring work. So let's make this a little bit more progressive. You're gonna go down, keep this right foot where it is, step into a turned out squat, and then come back into a curtsy. So again, you're just gonna step out and back. Eventually you can make this a little quicker, making it harder, but you're still keeping that closed kinetic chain by pushing into your right foot. So a really good one. Make sure you do both sides and let me know if it puffs you out too. Thank you. So to summarize for you, today we did kinetic chain exercises. So we moved our body segments with and with against force. And for the open kinetic, we allowed our body and our distal segments to just kind of freely move in space. So that's when I did the arm work at the beginning for the upper part. That was the lateral movement and the full lat press. And then I also showed you what it's like on all fours. So one leg lifted up freely, and then option to make it harder by reaching the other arm up and doing those little lifts. So moving into the close, that was when the 1 or 2 feet or whatever it is, your arms, upper extremities, they're keeping constant force within the floor. So for the upper extremity, I showed you push-ups. So keeping it basic was on the knees. You're pushing force into your hands, and you have to keep your head neutral. I realize that my head kind of ducks a little bit, so something to work on. And to make it a little harder for the push-up, come onto your toes, and as you push down, you lift one leg up. It's really tricky, but you're still keeping the 2 hands and also 1 foot all down into the floor, pushing down, so it's tricky. And then for the last bit that I showed you, it was those curtsy lunges. So make sure you do both sides if you're going to do it. So the 1 foot is always staying stenciled into the floor. And even for the first exercise, I actually had the front foot and the back ball of the foot into the ground, going down and all the way up. And then to make it harder, I just went from that curtsy and then kept that right foot there and just stepped the left foot out into a turned out squat. So throughout that fluid motion, 1 foot was being a closed kinetic by staying where it was. So I hope you really enjoyed my video today and learned something, maybe some new moves. I'm looking forward to looking at all the other students' exercises, and thank you again, Lorraine, for a great class. And I completely give all reference to my definitions, and what I got this from was from Lorraine Glass's presentations and her notes and lesson plans, and also through our book, which you can find the reference at the end of this video just on that little footnote. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you again soon. Best of luck in your studies.